little by little, as you slowly come back into the presence of this soul circle today, as you open your eyes and begin to see the names that are here present live in this Zoom that we are choosing to sync in time here today. Let yourself see these beautiful faces of these spiritual warriors. You are a spiritual warrior. And I get it. I feel it. Some of you are experiencing a tremendous amount of polarities in your body, a tremendous amount of difficulty in what you are holding sacred space for. And today we are going to dive into some of the greater purpose of why we are here and recognizing our different evac plans that we have. And as we start to recognize these, I'm inviting all of you to always hold love and space for the physical body, because one thing I want to address is that for many light workers, starseeds, the indigos, have experienced a tremendous amount of difficulty many times in processing energy through the body. Some of you have autoimmune, different physical pains, different allergies or discomforts or sensitivities that you've maybe dealt with your entire life in this lifetime. Some of you are the grid workers that are processing the many different bacterias and viruses that are purging, transmuting, and clearing off of the planet. That is not a mission to take lightly at all. It is one that can easily become discouraging because it feels overwhelming. And what's the point? Or why am I broken? Or why is everybody else moving through this better than I am? And that is something I'm going to invite, if this is something you experience, to please, with the greatest of love, recognize that you are a consciousness that is being a host caretaker for your bioregenesis vehicle or your karma resolution vehicle, which is your body. And part of that being a caretaker of the body is that your greatest mission in this lifetime might just be to continuously hold love and gratitude for a body that sometimes feels like it's letting you down. But it's not. It is serving its greatest purpose with the highest good. And you really, truly are being a gift for Earth Mother, really recognizing that Earth Mother has held all of this within her template. And we are going to talk about the Krystal River. So I want to dive right into the questions. And you're going to see me looking. I have another screen over here because it's going to help. And I want to start with this very first question. And this question literally was just super simple. I loved it. It was just saying, can you please speak more about the meaning of the Krystal River? Okay, so what I want to first say is that the Krystal River are the Krystal core flow currents. So these are currents, plasmic core currents of light that are streaming down. So really, I want to invite you to think of this as plasma. And these are frequencies that are coming from a completely other ecosystem, okay? And they are pouring into our time matrix at this time, and they are an energy. And so I want to kind of go into a little bit of where they come from. And what this is recognizing that these are currents that started to come through, just kind of knowing that Ashia Nadine in her energy and how she was sharing it started to actually bring forward some of this information around 2006. So about 18 years ago, it started to trickle in. It started to coming activated online. And we can actually recognize, if you look at it through Lisa Renee's work in the Ascension Glossary, you're going to just want to look up crystal star. Okay, you're just going to Google that term, crystal star, within there. And she gives a very beautiful description within there that as this energy started to pour through, we want to go backwards a little bit in time and recognize that the Melchizedek God seed, so the Melchizedek family lineage line, were the primary God seed family that was taking on the brunt of the work of doing the Krystal mission of rehabilitating our consciousness and our strands of DNA. Okay. And the Melchizedek family was holding this responsibility all the way back since the Lyran timelines of really enacting the morphogenetic template for all different types of God seeds to be able to use their body and use their template to rehabilitate all of the distortions, the hybridizations, and any of the anti-Krystic acts or metatronic reversals that happened to our God seed consciousness. Okay. And within this, what we're recognizing is that, let me actually come to this area right here so I can describe this a little bit more, is that at a particular time, basically, we started to get rays of energy. Okay. And these rays of energy were coming from the Aurora forces. So if you look up, and we talk a lot about the Aurora suns, we talk about a lot about the Aurora Earth, that we talk about there's Earth here, and then we do the Tauran Earth, which is in the Pleiades or Alcyone, which we're aligning to now. We talk about the Gaian Earth template, um, which is in Mintaka, which is in the metagalactic core in the belt of Orion. Then we talk about the Aurora Earth, which is actually now where we're going to see where this template's coming from. And this is coming in a connection to Eartha, which is our parallel. It's coming from another ecosystem. We went into this our last Q&A where we started to get to see that our 15-dimensional time matrix plugs in, and all four of them actually create an even larger system. And so we're seeing that Eartha is connected and is really more connected to our parallel ecosystem. Okay. Now, within this, let me just actually read some of this to you so that you can start to download this information and this energy. So it's saying that you have an Atma, an Etha, a Ketha, a Reha, a Vea, okay? And that you also have a Kathara. So you have a Kathara body. But where we get the Reha, Veha, Un Krystallo is the Krystal River, the Krystal River flow. And the flows are pertaining to these 9 inner Gelesic layers. So I'm going to get a little bit technical with you today because we're going to be talking about the Van Allen belt. We're going to be talking a little bit about hibernation zones. And we're also going to be talking a bit about aquifers and aurora bands or aurora zones. And if this is all new terminology that you've never heard before, I'm going to invite you to let it go in and let it pass right through, and that your higher self is going to bring to you the bits and pieces to start to weave the story together however you need to hear it. Okay. And so within this, it's really talking about that within the elementals, and this is why we do the elemental commands, but within the elementals, and then we're looking within the energy bands or each of these bands or rays of frequencies, each one operates kind of in different directions or flows or spins of energy. And so this is understanding the relationship that if we were kind of say to look at how even the energy in an atom flows and how it vibrates and reverberates within there, we're going to see that it has a bit of a dance within there. So as above, so below. This is going to go into the Partiki energy that has us looking at our higher or our light body templates. Now I'm going to kind of bring it all the way back in. Now we know that we have Aurora races. There are Aurora races. So remember the Aurora Earth template. And the Aurora Earth template is held in what is known as the Aquiel or the Aquarian matrix, which is aqueous. What this is that is the correct name for the Andromedan galaxy. So when we talk about the Aquarii, the Aqueon, and this Aurora band energy, we're primarily talking about rays and plasmic energy that's coming in, pouring in from what we deem in our Earth language here, we've been calling it the Andromedan Mother Galaxy, the Andromedan Galaxy. But I'm going to invite you to recognize this as the Aquarian matrix. And this is running the crystal spiral energy within it. So within this, we have known about the Palidorian covenant. We have known about the Christos mission. We have known about the Indigo mission that is here, that we have been working with here on Earth. And we also know about the different missions that we have enacted upon the earth in order to create the chambers of light necessary to rehabilitate consciousness, to move out of the rings or out of the Van Allen belt of consciousness, out past the frequency fence and nets, in order for souls to begin to start to repair, to rejuvenate, and to move into other platforms where they can start to be tended to by guardian races so that they can begin to be rehabilitated enough to return back home to their universal families and universal trees of life. So in short, we are part of these missions here, okay, that are actually part of a greater mission. And so let me actually kind of talk a little bit about this. I'm going to have to kind of move around a little bit within this because it's pretty big. And let me move up. And I wanted to see if I could find where I put it. There's just too much. I cut and paste some stuff on here to try to get it. And I'm just going to do it through transmission through the Guardians because I'm not seeing where I have it on here. So we're going to let this go. So basically, they always just tell me to shush and just let it pour through. So within this, we have been part of these Melchizedek, the Melchizedek hosting missions. We have been part of these Christ consciousness missions here, the Christos mission here upon the earth. And again, these Christos missions, primarily the indigo races, were created as part of these Christos missions in order to come and really be the rescue team for the lost or fragmented or fractured souls that have many times gotten stuck in lower bands like 2D, 1D bands within the earth or 4D bands in the astral realms during different catastrophic, especially nuclear type explosions in planetary systems, which tear apart the plasmic body of our soul at the time of death and fracture the consciousness of a soul. So many times our soul consciousness throughout history may have gotten so frayed or fractured that we had to do the whole step up process all over again. What that means is that at different times, some of us may have been in these different war zones where we got blown up in the cataclysm. And many times being blown up like that means that we had to start over again, all the way from the mineral kingdom, work our way through the plant kingdom, work our way up through the animal kingdom, into higher and higher levels of consciousness, into where we could finally begin to get into bioregenerative forms that can hold higher levels of understanding and awareness within our processors of our mind so that we could start to utilize free will to begin to clear the shadows, the shadow dancers, the fragmented energy, and the archonic programming within our system. Okay, So within this, it's really important for us to recognize, as sometimes we ask, why does it seem like we've been stuck here for so long? Well, sometimes our stuck here wasn't just stuck in a human body over and over and over again. There are many of you that were in some of these catastrophic timelines that got blown up. I'm going to just put something kind of random out there because I've come across a few others of you that also have a body signature that I was born with. And that is that when I was born, my feet, especially my right foot, a little bit more pronounced than my left foot, has pretty pronounced bunions on my feet, to where my toe starts to go over, and I've had to really work. I walk barefoot a lot in order to correct it as much as possible. But when we have kind of dysmorphic things like that in our body, those are actually body signatures of us having been in nuclear or radiation timelines during these catastrophic wars, where our body is still holding the signature and the dysmorphia, if you will, within it of that energy of those timelines, and it's still showing us energy that we're processing or clearing in this very lifetime. So just to kind of put that out there for you guys. So when around 2006, the Aurora forces and the Aurora pillars started to come online, we started to hear about this as the mother arc energy, the 13th pillar, the 13th gate, the mother arc, the aurora light, the turquoise energy starting to really come through on the earth. This is exactly the same thing. This is the Aurora Krystic forces that started to come in as a whole other host, a whole other trimatrix host family that came in as a tag, we're it now. And the Melchizedek family started to get to have a relief from being the brunt of the energy that was holding all of the weight of being the rehabilitation for the god seeds. So the Aurora energy forces are the ones that have come in order to now take over the seed hosting platforms. And they're bringing in plasmic energies, which we see as the silver cord or the silver sanctum. And as you connect to this energy, it is a plasmic frequency that literally just dissipates the seals, the implants. Primarily what it is dissipating is a lot of the distortion that has been projected upon our consciousness from the this kind of a strange term, the Gilead, I'm not going to be able to say it. The Gilziatric, I hate it when I get that flip in my brain where I can't say certain words. But what it is these bands. It's these bands within our Van Allen belt, and there's rings within it. There's rings within there that primarily the frequency fence is an energy between a particular subset of bands, not all of it, but there's a strand of band within it that the Metatronic forces and the Anu aligned forces, they basically scientifically, they use technology to go in there and they reversed the energy in that band. Okay. And when they reversed the energy of that band, they made it inorganic or not in alignment anymore into our Krystic codes or templates. So our consciousness would hit that band and bounce back down. You can't reach your counsel. You feel separated. You can't feel your higher self. This created even more distortion for the tribes that didn't have all of the codes within their template. Because they didn't, see, when you don't have all 12 strands of your DNA, at least they might not be activated, but if they're not at least in a way that they can be activated within the body, because remember, there's a lot of the Anu races that only have 11. There's some down to like 10, right? And so they're missing. When they are missing a band or one of those strands of the DNA, it's like missing one of the layers of your light body. And I don't know how many of you ever heard that, like when we talk about certain people, we're like, oh my gosh, it's like that person has no emotions. How could they do that to somebody else? It's like they have no emotions. Well, that's because their emotional body's clicked off. They don't have access to it. It's offline, right? So there's a lot of people that even in the mental body, they don't even have the mental body on. The mental body is completely hijacked, and they are basically like a walking program. And we call them fillers. We call them just role play, whatever, fillers within the system, because none of their mental body is even activated by any level of soul consciousness. It's all just really being directed by the program. Okay, so when you look at this, now you start to get to understand that there are individuals out there that literally don't have emotions, empathy, or feelings because they don't even have the strands in them to activate it. Okay, and I want to talk about this through why certain bodies are important. So let me just kind of summarize the crystal river energy and why it is so important at this time. There is a whole crystal river prayer. You can look it up on YouTube. There's quite a few beautiful souls that have placed it on there so that you can listen to it. But really, at minimum, you can just say re ave a un cristallo 3 times. Re ave a un cristallo. Re ave a un cristallo. Flow through me. You guys got that? Pretty easy, right? That's it. What you're basically doing, the Rea Vea, is you're calling on the plasmic frequency rays that are coming from the other Vecca systems that have come online as host matrices that are hosting their consciousness and energy exactly the same as the Melchizedek Godseed was hosting. They're coming in now and hosting for us. And when we start to attune to pouring that energy through us, we're inviting them through our free will to connect with us. We're connecting to the Aurora or the Krystic aligned families. And here's where I want to just kind of reiterate this with you guys. They're not one species. They're not just one being. There are many matrices that run crystal frequencies, the Krystic codes. Okay, so there are many different matrices that actually run the crystal spiral through them and are Krystic aligned matrices. We're not. We got reversed down here, but we still hold enough of the seed or the light that we can become. But I do want to say there is an awareness that this universal system has reached beyond the point of repair. Shield yourself, run the codes again if you need to. I know this is really difficult for a lot of people to receive, and they don't want to receive it. This matrix has moved beyond the point of repair. You all knew it when you signed up. You all knew it when you first came in. But we're all these empathic walking hearts that are like, no, we can fix it. And to all my beautiful star family, especially those the female gender, for some reason has this core based program of I can fix it, I can help it, I can change you, I will make you better. It's like delete, 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 delete. It's just the magnetic template of the Divine Mother that always holds love, right? It always holds the love for its creation. So it'll never abandon its creation. It's like we have become codependent to the T because of this, because it's like we just don't want to give up thinking something's fixable. Now, within this, we want to now start to recognize that, well, what was the mission? What is the Christos mission? And we've said it over and over and over and over and over and over again, like just a repetition. To assist all souls to return home to their universal families. Does that sound like build cozy homes for them here and make a shiny, like, new world? No. And, there is so much talk out there about recreating the new earth here on earth. It's not being created here. It's not being created here in this harmonic universe. And it is understanding that for all of you that are experiencing these flips and these time bands and these time warps and feeling out of sync with others, you're feeling yourself slipping in and out into other realms, where you, to a degree, may become completely invisible to other people at a particular time because you're not even going to be in their same reality. And if you try to shake them up into your reality, you might upset them, kind of like a ghost upsets other people, right? Nobody likes a ghost for some reason. Be nice to them. They are consciousness too, that we are helping. So as we get to understand this, we're always going to understand we've been here on an evac plan, and all systems run off of this breath out, breath in. We've said this a lot, but now I'm going to explain it in a way that hopefully ties this together. I don't care if you're looking at this through Vedic cosmology, if you're looking at this through ascension mechanics, if you're looking at this in any of these perspectives, we know, and I'll just say it in the Vedic way, so it kind of flips a new energy in, that when the Brahman breathes life, that there is a set cycle to the creation. And it's a breath out. And in that exhale, everything instantaneously goes out into cycles of experience. But there is always the in-breath. We are all always meant to return back home. Doesn't that sound a little bit like another way of saying, hey, a bunch of you forgot or got distorted or got fragmented or got stuck and didn't breathe back in? And we know that if you look at it through the Voyagers books, we know that the last ascension cycle got completely thwarted. And we have been stuck in these cycles of incarnation far longer than we should have. So yes, we do know this. And does it mean that it collapses all ability to be able to experience creation? Absolutely not. Remember, there's in-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath. It seems like large cycles to us because we are Earth human at this time. But when you see it from the cosmic breath, it is like the blink of an eye. It is like you inhaling and exhaling and having an experience in creation. And so this is where we want to separate any levels of judgment or any of these things within. So I hope this answers the question a little bit better. I probably will be doing another video at some point just for the YouTube to go into this crystal river energy a little bit more, because it is so important. So now I want to get into one of the next questions within here, and I'm going to kind of just go through them. Another question that came through, there was a question that came through that asked about boundary testing with the 12th dimensional shield. Okay, so a lot of times, especially if you listen to any of Lisa Renee's meditations or her work, she says this a lot. I'll just say a lot. I won't say all the time, but I will say a lot. It pops up that when she does an opening for anything or a meditation, she will go into a very extensive setting of space. And in there, then after the 12th dimensional shield, she will refer to doing a boundary boundary testing with your 12th dimensional shield. So I'm going to kind of describe this a little bit and what is it. So I'm going to invite all of you to take a deep breath in again right now. Come back into the awareness that you are the Christed being emanating the light. So begin to sense and feel this energy of your light starts to create a shield around you, a field of energy. Okay. Now, within that field, and if you wanted to go all the way through and create the 12th dimensional shield, where you take the Maharic seal in your third eye, shoot it down, pull up the crystalline core energy of the earth, shoot it up, pull in the crystalline core energy of the universe, pull it back into your heart, pop that energy field out around you. The bottom line is you're beginning to feel as though you are inside of a core crystalline emanating light that is this Christed consciousness. Okay. Now, to do a boundary test, you would just feel your energy around you and then begin to use it like a sweeping energy. Okay, so basically you're going to feel from your energy and start sweeping your room. Start feeling your 12th dimensional shield through the corners of your walls, in your room, in your space, in your home, in the land, in your relationship to people. In your relationship, you could actually sweep it through. Please remember that at one level, how would I put this? Please remember that you have many houses in your mansion. So what that can imply is that you might be within one level of your consciousness more in alignment, say, to your higher mind, higher self. But don't forget, you have an etheric body, a mental body, an emotional body, an astral body. Every single one of those, remember, you might go like, oh, I'm going into my meditation room all the way up into my higher self body. But then you might have been like, oh, but I'm ignoring cleaning my emotional body and I don't feel like dealing with my mental body right now, right? It's like you just don't want to fold the laundry or do the dishes. So you're like, I'm going away to my higher mind where it's all pretty and nice. Don't forget many mansions in your home. Okay, so now as you take your 12th dimensional shield, you can sweep it through even all the different layers of your light body to start to catch. This is how you do seal and implant removal. You're basically taking your shield, which holds a certain level of vibration or ethics, and as you sweep it through different places, you're boundary testing and you're really starting to now highlight anything that doesn't resonate or match that energy. And so that is going to be one way of describing. I'm not saying it's the ultimate or the only way, but it's one way of looking at how do you do a boundary test with your 12th dimensional shield. It's amazing because when you're in the 12th dimensional shield energy, and I will invite you just to quantify it at times. If you want, take your 12th dimensional shield, bump it up to 24 dimensional shield, bump it up to 36, bump it up to 48. And then run it and see what you catch. I'll look at this. This question just came through. Have you heard of this? Guardian suspended Kathara back in 2012 due to the dark flower affliction running in the planetary and personal shields. You know, and that's why I think it keeps shifting. So if you ever hear the way that I kind of verbalize a lot of it. I'm verbalizing it in real time, how the guardians are transmitting it through right now. And if you ever hear it, and this is actually, I'm going to touch into this question right now. There was a question in there about the 12th dimensional shield. This was coming from a YouTube video that I did on false dreams and connecting holographic inserts, and correcting, sorry. And this person was asking, when applying the 12th dimensional shield, would I use Ashiana's or Lisa's technique? They're both different. Please, if you know, let me know. So if you've listened or been a part of many of the soul circles, you're going to recognize that I don't actually verbalize them like those techniques. They're always a little bit more in attunement to however the guardians are moving it at a particular moment in real time, in this corrected timeline of how they are directing our energy to be that vibration. And they actually were bringing through a while ago, you know, I always still say the 12th dimensional. I do that because people understand it and know what that term is. So it has a collective consciousness on the planet. But I like to continuously add into people's consciousness, bump it up. Go from 12, 24, 36, 48, run 48. You want to start running the Aura Femme at least code lines within there. So within this, yes, the dark flower has afflicted a lot of the planetary and personal shields. They're think about like criminal mind, right? You know, we can realize that the level of security that we have to have on things today is absurd compared to what we maybe would have needed 100 years ago for things, right? Every time, thank you, Claudia. Every time we think of a way to lock something, the criminal mind takes it as a challenge on how to one up it. And then we have to up our security. And then they go, well, I can break that code too. So there is the same way that we see this micro macro, we see this in criminal mind on the planet. It is the same thing that has happened with a lot of the reversal Anunnaki forces, Melchizedek, the reversal or the infiltrated Melchizedek families, and then the Metatronic and Michael families. So primarily this trinity of Michael, Melchizedek, Metatron is emanating as a gold ray from the metagalactic core in the Orion belt. And that is the primary place that the code or base geometries got fully distorted through the wars in the metagalactic core that then have trickled it all the way down into all lower forms of creation. And so I invite everybody, and I love being able to repeat these things because it helps us. I invite everybody, take what I am saying and run it through your filters. Whatever doesn't resonate or serve you, kick it out, toss it out, throw it away, ignore it. There's no need to have to like argue or do anything that with it. It's just an ability for you to recognize you have your own discernment. You have your own connection to your guidance team. So take whatever I say, what resonates, awesome. Let it be whatever helps you have that connection to your highest guidance team. Same with Ashiana's work. I've said this over and over. Be very discerning with anything you read. Same with Lisa Renee's work. You want to recognize that there is massive wisdom in so many different levels of teaching. And at one point, I even brought forward the Book of Enoch, or the Keys of Enoch manual, because it is known to be a highly targeted work of reversal energy within there. But you can still go in there through your shields of discernment and grab what's not. It's in there. So within that, I'm inviting that to even recognize, because a lot of the information, especially through the chelantic information, and the Kathara information, which the Kathara system is about working with the Kathara body. It's primarily a healing system and a healing technique. I will tell you, I haven't resonated that much with going into that whole Kathara bioregenesis. It is if you look at the books, the 3 levels of it, it's all healing techniques within there, which are great. There's really powerful information in there, but I only kind of glance at it every once in a while because the guides really are pulling towards more of the importance of this evac plan and how are we rescuing consciousness so that consciousness can move through these Gilead zones, see if I say it right, so that our consciousness moves past the plasma bands and can get beyond, say, the Van Allen belts, past the frequency fences, so that our consciousness can break free from this earthbound place that we have been in. Now, within that, and so hopefully that helps a little bit, you guys, because it's kind of difficult to try to say. It's like, yes, I am definitely one of the people that shares a lot of this chelantic wisdom, and I blend it with a lot of other things. I will say, I recognize, and to anybody out there listening, I know I ruffle some of your feathers because I don't say it just the same way, but that's not my purpose. I am bringing this through my own shields and my own guidance. And again, that's where it comes through. Whatever resonates, take it. Whatever doesn't, kick it out. That's for all of us. Because we just, you are all, you are all connected. Anybody that's connected to it, it means that you in your heart have already worked with the information on the CDT plates before. It means you already have a resonance with that wisdom. You've read it before, you know it before, in other lifetimes, other planetary systems and places. Trust your heart. There's a reason why you're drawn to it, because it really does resonate to us on a core level. So I hope that helps for the 12th dimensional shield. In short, the answer to that question was, it's all about the intentions of your heart. And I primarily feel, because this is what the guides have been saying for quite a while, is be the Krystic light emanated out. You are that pillar. You are the energy. So our job is to align more and more to the Krystic, to the crystal rivers, to the Krystic consciousness. And as we align to that within our energy and we attune to it, that's that double diamond heart energy, we start to recognize that it's not something outside of us that's shielding us, but it's like we are activating that within and being that emanation. But use the shields. It really helps when it's not clear enough to click into it. Either one, honestly. But I would say amp it up. Take it to 48 dimension. Let's move on. I wanted to answer this because I love it. Sometimes I love the comments that I get on my YouTube videos, because I do get people that want to challenge some of the things that come through. So I love it because it helps us grow. It helps us grow for sure. And I'm going to first start with this one. And this was one of these types of questions, and it's going to tie into another question that is asking about lunar false light. Okay. So I believe it was in the same video, false dreams and correcting holographic inserts and mind slides. And there was also another energy, I think to one of maybe it was the last galactic report I did, maybe it was the Gemini, that there was an energy that says, I have one question if you don't mind. Why are you referring to the moon when you are talking about astrology? The moon is an inorganic structure controlled by dark entities, and they have put the lunar matrix over the organic structures. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Awesome. And then somebody jumped in and said, that's what I heard, that the chakras are also inorganics and they are implants. So this is fun. Let's dive into this. I'm going to just kind of tie this in because there's another question out there. And it was talking about working with restoring Mother's sacred peach ankh body. This is Lisa Renee's work, and how she was clearing lunar dark light. So let's dive into this. Why do I still reference the moon? In short, the moon still has a tremendous amount of influence over us. So, therefore, what our greatest purpose in discernment truly is, in a lot of ways, is to become aware of what are the programs that are running in this matrix that we're in. What are the programs that are running, so that you understand them, so that you can begin to reverse them, unwind them, disband them, clear them, delete them, do whatever you need to do with them. We have worked as a group in the Soul Circle for years now with the moon, and we have regularly worked with the moon as a recognition that yes, it is artificial, it is a satellite. There are histories and times upon the earth where we have in our stories at the time of the earth before the moon was in the sky. We know that it was tractor being brought here, placed as a controlling force for the species on Earth in order to project vibrations. And so therefore we know that it primarily influences our subconscious mind and our memories and how we run our energies. Now, here's the thing, if you know that, if you sit and you go like, oh, well, I recognize now that the moon is a satellite that has moon chain implants embedded within it. So, okay, so here's the thing. We need to know about the moon because a lot of us have fractured energy, especially through a lot of the forced breeder programs that have chained you to the energy of the moon. So why do I work with the moon? Because the moon holds the keys to a lot of the places where we hold seals, implants, and bindings. And if you know how to start working with it, we take it to the next level. You can utilize a connection to the moon and recognize that it's what? A satellite. What does a satellite do? Projects energy, right? So the negative forces are basically utilizing the satellite to project their programs. We're Krystic forces. What is the most powerful energy on the planet? Christ consciousness. The Krystic rivers. We've done so many soul circles where as a group and as a collective, we attune to the vibration of the moon, and then we go in there and what can we do? We can disband the artificial projected waves, because a satellite's going to project waves. It's going to project frequencies. So we go in with a different frequency that nullifies, cancels, shuts them down. And then guess what? Because we don't want to stop there, override it. And what do we override it with? We have done so many meditations where we've taken the energy of the projection of a full moon. We've gone and canceled out all of their frequencies and started to transmit an energy of love, veneration, support, healing. We can take the moon, and just as much as they use it to project an energy, we can also override it, hijack it, and project an energy down to the planetary energy, because all of the individuals that are on a unknowing, unconscious, subconscious level being influenced by the moon now are going to get the opportunity to receive the Krystic codes from it. So I do bring up the moon every single galactic star reading. I say, here are your magic moon days when the moon is in your sun sign, where you can utilize that energy, use your own destiny, your own vibration, and your own radiance to maybe tap into that energy, utilize your intentions to override it and reset vibrations down onto the planet. So when we talk about lunar false light, it's a recognition that the moon has been venerated by a lot of the Luciferic forces and even the satanic forces upon the planet, because they have used it to control the masses. So we talked in, I think it was in the J Seals, maybe it was your last soul circle. We talked about Jehovah's seals. We talked about the lunar religions. There was solar religions and lunar religions, and the lunar religions were basically harnessing and utilizing programming. Just think of it as lunar luciferic is going to be manipulative and use programming to control people against their free will. So when we think of lunar false light, we're really looking at something that's luciferic and that is posing as benevolent or in our best interest, but is not. That's one way, kind of in a layman's term, to kind of describe it. So I hope that helps a little bit. And moving here, I want to actually read this. The damage system evac plan resonates with me, and I thought we were fixing it as a group of incarnated light bringers. So is that what we are doing, is exiting the broken space, helping the consciousness that is stuck to exit? Yes, we are. We're basically recognizing that the mother matrix has been holding all of these different creations, but let's pinpoint the point of disruption. And the point of disruption, honestly, it primarily goes back about 300 billion years ago in our Earth time. It goes back to primarily where the Lyran Wars started. And pardon me, I don't have the name of the race off the top. I do believe the Borga eventually kind of emanated out of that group, but there was a particular race line of beings. Curious as we are, we're like curious little kitties, aren't we? Playing with things we don't always need to play with. But remember, all creation is an experiment, right? We birth, we breathe out, and we play around, we experience it. Now, we know in the Lyran War times, and at a particular time, there was something went wrong, something broke. It was kind of like the system and the way that it was flowing it went out of Krystic flow. And one of the advanced race lines got really curious about it, and that system actually collapsed. And so when it was kind of like a reinstating and a restart. And as they kind of started up another experiment, they decided to start that the most wrong thing that has ever taken place in this creation, and that is the Victim-Victimizer program. Okay, so this race line of beings, they got curious. They basically went, oh, it didn't work. Why? I don't know. Let's figure it out. It's like that curiosity that was just like, rather than it just didn't work, leave it alone. Try something else, play with something else. No, they were like, I want to dive into everything that went wrong. Okay, so they devised, it was literally a created plan, which was called the Victim-Victimizer, where they basically said, let's figure it out. Why did it go wrong? Half of you go role play the victim part, half of you go role play the victimizer part, and let's see how we actually can correct it. But they didn't realize that the Victim-Victimizer program was such a rapid virus that it overtook them faster than they had control over it. And it pulled the system into a complete, like a virus, like it just overran the entire creation. That's our creation. It overran our creation. So I'm actually going to pull this question in because somebody asked this question on one of the videos. And I do believe it was maybe the Voyagers reading, and they said, I do my best to be open to this information. Something that screams at me is, why is it all so complicated, and why has so much gone wrong? Bottom line, the Victim-Victimizer program is the ultimate program that caused all the complication and for all of it to go wrong. And within this program of the Victim-Victimizer, it basically began to embed like a virus in our consciousness. So it started to create the blame game where people stopped, or creations stopped taking responsibility. And that in primarily the Metatronic family got infected. This is what they got infected by, and why they became such a reversed conscious families. They got pulled in by this victim-victimizer, and then they created the blame game and added that on to it, to where now it's the shifting of responsibility. When you shift responsibility, what you are actually doing is taking your karma of what you have put into cause and effect and creation, and you are dumping it on someone else. And now you have created the ultimate perpetual cycle of imbalances of polarity. And what do we have? We have lots of people who will fight tooth and nail to be right. And there is a saying, this is not something I've made up, but it's something I've heard many times. And that is the question, do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Because a lot of times we get so stuck on something where it'll be like, yeah, but what they did was so wrong, and we don't want to let it go. Whereas it's like, we're the only ones holding the virus in our mind. And the question again, do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? I'm going to take it a next level. Do you want to be right, or do you want to get the heck out of here? Yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't need to be right. I don't ever need to be right. You guys can challenge all the different things I say. It's all good. I don't need to be right. I'm willing to look at all of it. I'm willing to revisit all of it. The more that the wisdom comes online, the more I'm starting to recognize there's probably a whole lot of videos I've done on YouTube that probably need to be, modified or revisited as we begin to really kind of look at our evolution of consciousness and more of our crystalline records coming online. And in that, awesome, great. Let's keep recreating ourselves. We don't need to be right. We don't need to be vindicated for a bunch of things. In fact, a message came through from the guides the other day, and I recorded it, but I will say it was so kind of like to the point that I held back from posting it live because it was pretty intense. But the basic message was, you are who you are, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your childhood, regardless of how your parents treated you, regardless of how things have or haven't been available to you in your life. You are who you are, because that is who you are on a soul level. Now, have we been fragmented? Have we sometimes gone through these fraying and these fragmentations and then been embedded by some of the programmings? Yes, but at the core, you are who you are, regardless of anything that you have gone through. And then they went harsher. They said, no matter what you've gone through, because this is where we always like to, I call this the one-upping on pain and suffering, right? If any of you have ever been born into a family that it's all about the misery, right? Well, I didn't ever have this, and I didn't ever have that, and it's like, oh yeah, well, I can up you on that. Well, this is what I went through, and it's way worse than that. And it's always like this one up of whose misery was more. And the more misery you had, it's like more points you get, or the better you are, or something. Which is ridiculous, right? So within this, we get to start to recognize that there is an energy sometimes of going like, oh, well, this is what I went through. And then it'll be like, and then, it's like, well, we don't want to sit and go like, oh, well, somebody else might have gone through something similar, or maybe even worse than that, right? So they actually took it really harsh. They said it doesn't matter. Even if you were born imprisoned, being violated on a daily basis, watching people around you completely being annihilated, that suffering is not unique to you. So what they were bottom line saying is, it doesn't matter what your life circumstance is. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter what your childhood was like. It doesn't matter who did what, who didn't do what for you. It's not unique to you. You're not the only one in creation that's ever gone through that. You're not the only one in creation that has ever experienced every level of suffering you can even think of that's on planet Earth, because half of the stuff that happens on Earth isn't even close to what happened to the Pegasus Star Nation. It's not even an inkling to what happened in the Orion system. And I'm telling you, stuff's ugly here. But what they wanted us to know is, whatever you have been through, it's not unique to you. So if you are using it as an excuse for why your life isn't working or why you're not happy, their bottom line was, stop it. That in this incarnational time, you are who you are, regardless of what you've been through. Has our soul been sharded at different times? Yes, but guess what? Each and every one of us is here because we're choosing to put our puzzle pieces back together. So we've gone through stuff. I can guarantee that all of us have stories that could make people blush or cry or feel so sad about. Every single one of us here. But at the same time, I can guarantee that not all that we don't want to identify with those stories. Those are just experiences. We will have gone through tragedies, calamities, pain, trauma, suffering. You hear me say it all the time. Pretty much every starseed is born with starseed PTSD. Just is. We have it. But our essence of our soul is, how do you now deal with it? What do you choose to be despite it? Right? It's not about your circumstances. It's about how you move through those challenges. And so with that, they said, you can really see this through different experiences where you can get you could do a whole survey of 100 people that have all gone through the exact same childhood traumas. Every single one's going to be different. Some will move into depression, become angry, become suicidal, become addictive to things, give up on life, use it as an excuse forever, and play the blame game or the victimizer program to the T. And then there's the rest. Those that truly are here on a soul's mission might be bombarded by it, but are still seeking in any way possible to transcend the victim-victimizer program. Our job is to recognize that it doesn't matter who is playing these games in creation. We have all come from the original source, so we're all family. You're like, I am not family to an Alpha Draconian. No, no, no. We're all family. Sorry, you guys. We are all family in different bodies, different forms, different experiences. But you have a gift in this lifetime, and that gift is that you are in an angelic human body. So I kind of want to there's only, I think, one more thing I wanted to talk about as far as questions. Let's see where we're at on time. And that is that the body that you are in is your ultimate gift. We talked about in the very beginning that we have at times been fragmented and had to start all over again, maybe through the mineral, the animal, the plant kingdoms, and so on and so forth. So I want to bring something very important to your awareness, because this is going to help you understand galactic and other races as well. When you want to connect to your council, we as Earth humans like to imagine everybody else thinks and processes information in the same way we do. Not the case at all. So I want you to imagine if you've gone through incarnational experiences and say you got incarnated into the body of a bird. So for a lot of you, we do starseed readings and we look at lifetimes and other experiences and as other species. And we go like, oh, I'm connected to the bird kingdom. That's so amazing. But have you ever truly done the shamanic work to step into the body and the mind and the essence of a bird? Yeah, guess what? You're not doing meditation. You're not processing consciousness. You're not thinking about where your soul's going to go the next time you die. You're looking for a worm or a seed, or you're flying, or you're looking for a twig to create a nest. You're on an instinctual basis. And the energy and the consciousness that moves through a bird's consciousness cannot be thought of at the same level that you think as. You can't imagine being a bird from a human mind. You just can't. Please, this is what I want to invite. It's the same as if you really resonate with cats. Can't happen. If you step into the mind and the body and the energy of a cat, I am sorry, but a cat doesn't have emotions of the same velocity and level. A cat is not going to worry about playing around with a bird or a mouse just to see what it looks like while it dies. They're going to do it. They're going to be curious about it because they're curious. I sometimes I'm all like, oh yeah, Lyran energy. We don't want to really embrace this sometimes because we realize the Lyra is the cradle of the human form and creation, and it has some of the highest councils, and we connect it to the feline race line. But guess what? Who do you think got all curious and started to create the Victim-Victimizer program that started in Lyra? And we want to acknowledge that, yes, especially when we look through the stellar star nations, did the great felines go through so much trauma? Yes, but where do we start to get to look at this from the greater levels of consciousness of different race lines? Okay, so think about the felines, because again, we also know that the cats are healing. They use frequency and vibration. They have the ability to see through dimensions and realms. They don't think, process, or see things in this reality the way we do. Okay. So if you were to incarnate into a cat, you would also not be doing the same things that you are doing now. Different level. They are more liminal space workers. So they are a familiar for sure. Same with the dog, same with the horse. Same with when you think about an Alpha Centaurian. Same as if you think about a Anunnaki race line. Same as if you think about a Pegasus star being. Same as if you think about an Arcturian. They do not process the way they think the same way our human mind does. So there's so many times you get a starseed reading and you want to go like, oh, I have connection to Andromeda. But then we overlay our human mind. But that's not the gift of these starseed readings. The gift is to actually step out of the human mind and begin to start to see the world and the universe from a completely different vantage point, and break out of our limited programming in this reality so we can see the world and the universe in a whole other way. And when we do this, we start to then recognize that you are in an angelic human body that has the ability to now consciously of your own free will choose the correct starfire return or bardo chamber activations so that you can begin to direct your consciousness back again to your universal family trees of life and return back home. And that's going to be, very, very interesting for us to start to relate to, because as we start to shift in timelines, our biggest issue we're having right now is how are we feeling all of this change in our frequency in our brain and how we are thinking and working with time and integrating with others, because at a core level, we're still trying to fit into this world. What we're getting a problem with is like, oh my gosh, I feel like it feels so weird when I'm driving, or it's so weird when I'm talking to so-and-so, and it feels so off when I'm doing this. Why? Because we're still clinging and hanging on to being that human level of consciousness in the 3D that we've been so programmed with. And we think anything outside of that means we're losing our mind. Or are we starting to find our mind? And are we actually starting to begin to have a perception of what it's like to conceptualize creation from 4D and 5D? because a Pleiadian is not going to process, again, the way we do. And the closer we get to attunement to the photon belt, Alcyone, the Taran timelines, and correct and create the bridge and correct. So our soul, remember, we're repairing things here. There was that kind of question. Are we healing these broken spaces? What we're healing is the bridges of light, the bridges of our DNA geometry and light language, so that we can walk through, our consciousness can walk through the light language into the other realms. So we are we're repairing light language bridges to get the heck out. Bridges take you new places to the other side. So I hope this helps you guys. There's maybe one last question I'll answer really quick. And someone was asking, if someone wants to heal from trauma in the past but can't remember the past, how do you find your answers? And I want to end with this one because it is really helpful. A lot of us don't have the ability to grab where the memories come from. But remember, if you're at a place where you're able to identify that it's a trauma, it means that you're experiencing something within your life that feels blocked, stuck, limited, hurt, fearful, triggered, something like that. And if you are feeling or experiencing something like that, trust your body. Go into your body. Get curious about your body. Let your body begin to show you, where is it stored? How is it held? And let that energy just be there. And as you be there, you can just as simply as invite this crystal river energy. You can invite and let love do all the work. You can invite an energy that just says, wherever it came from, however it got there, wherever I inherited it, or however it got fractured or stuck, I don't agree to it anymore. And I am making the conscious choice to choose to allow love in. Pull it from me now. I do not operate from this energy any longer. And little by little, it starts to dissipate. I will say, if you have traumas, fears, or things that feel stuck, find someone safe. And I want to emphasize, someone you feel safe with, that you can verbalize out loud your deepest, darkest fears. Because the minute you speak it out, you take its power away from having any more control over you. It doesn't always dissipate it 100%, but it's still going to be one of the key things that starts to discharge and dissipate the energy that it has over. So with so much love, you guys, I just have been so grateful and looking forward to just sinking in time with each and every one of you, sharing the sacred space. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much for continuing to be the pillars of light. It's not easy, but you got it. We got it. We got it. I love you.